Here's the real cost of traveling Latin America from my perspective, from most expensive to least expensive. Starting off with the beautiful Mexico City, I stayed for 2.5 weeks and spent $557 on food alone. That is eating out for every single meal. It's nowhere compared to the prices in New York, but it did feel a little bit more expensive than Colombia. It really just depends where you go though, because street food can be very affordable, but you can definitely feel the difference. The Airbnb I stayed in was $86 a night. It was so beautiful. It had this rooftop terrace. It was very spacious in an amazing neighborhood. It definitely wasn't the most expensive, but it wasn't the cheapest either. I'd say it's a reasonable cost. I spent $175 on tours. I did a whole video on all the Airbnb experiences I did there, and I loved all of them. My flights were a little bit weird because I was coming from different cities, but I've seen tickets from $300 to $500 round trip. Next, moving on to Colombia, I went to Cartagena and Medellin. So I want to start off by saying Cartagena, I stayed in a luxury hotel. I treated myself. I don't do this regularly, and it was so worth it. But to be realistic, hotels cost from around $100 to $200 a night, and Airbnbs as low as $60. I flew from Miami to Cartagena. It was $270. And I flew to Medellin from Cartagena, and that was only $46, and those were both on Avianca. The Airbnb that I stayed in Medellin was $64 a night. It had a co-working space, an amazing view, and I thought it was in a really good location. In the 2 weeks that I spent in both cities, I spent $250 on food, activities, Ubers, stuff like that. Cartagena is definitely a little bit more expensive than Medellin, but not by too much. And then I spent $175 on tours and activities. I went on 3 walking tours. I went to Comuna Trece, and then I took a day tour to Guatape and a coffee farm, and that was definitely the most expensive tour that I did. But it was a private tour that included meals, and they pick you up and drop you off at your accommodation. Last but not least is Buenos Aires in Argentina. It's no secret that due to inflation, foreigners are able to have a very luxurious experience without breaking the bank, except when it comes to shopping or flights. Cheapest flight that I've ever found to Buenos Aires is $700 round trip from Miami. But the cost of everything else outweighs the very expensive flights. The Airbnb was $42 a night. I spent $100 on a tour to Uruguay. And in the month and a half that I was in Buenos Aires, I only spent $700, and that includes eating out for breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, entrances to museums, Ubers, etc. The best part of Buenos Aires to me is that every activity that I love to do there is free, so you can save all your money for food. But remember, you have to pay in cash. I've heard that the best way is to go to Western Union and exchange your money there because you'll get a fair rate. Which Latin American city are you dying to go to?